Hi, ETech classmates. So, I will be presenting to you my journey into the clay world. I'll be your host today, Mayra Moreno. So, let's get started. So, how it all began. I took my very first ceramics class during my senior year of high school, and it was a hand building class only, so we didn't get to use the potter's wheel, but I was still excited to work with clay. The first project we did were plain pinch pots, which wasn't as exciting as I thought, but we still made them anyways. The next thing we did were mugs. Mine didn't come out as well as this one, but I was just happy that it could hold water. Um, so then we moved on to doing coil pots, which were fun to make, and I really liked how mine came out, and I was happy with it. So that was good. Then we did another coil pot project, but this time we blended the coils like you see in this image, and we made a vase. So that was a cool project too. And then we also did low relief tiles like the example here, and that was pretty cool. And then our last project of the year, we did animal masks. And I did a wolf mask, but it didn't come out so great. Um, but it was good. So overall, I had enjoyed my first ceramics class, even though I wasn't very good at it. Um, so the following year, after graduating high school, I came to Cal State Long Beach. And for my major, art education, it was a requirement to take two ceramics classes, which I was even more excited for since I enjoyed working with clay the previous year. This time I had the option of choosing between introduction to hand building or wheel throwing. So that was a tough decision. I ended up taking the hand building class since I had a good experience during my senior year. Um, so I took the hand building class and I hated it. From then on, I made sure not to take any other hand building class ever again. But then for my major, I had to take another ceramics class, but it was the wheel throwing class. So I thought I was pretty excited for that. So the following semester, I took introduction to wheel throwing, and it was a complete opposite of hand building, and I absolutely loved it. Even though it was difficult and sometimes frustrating, it felt very therapeutic and calming once I got the hang of it. So these two, this one and this one here, were my very first thrown plates. So that I had fun with that, and I did like sgraffito decoration on them. So these were fired and glazed, and they're ready to be used. Um, this one is another plate, and here you could see it's like my sketch of the design on my sketchbook on the paper, and then what I did on the plate. So this one hasn't been fired, um, and it did get fired, but my mom gave it away, and I didn't have a picture of it. I only had this one, so maybe I'll tell my cousin to send a picture or something. So this one right here was one of my final projects for the first class, um, and it's a lidded vessel. So it was fun, and overall, I really loved wheel throwing, and I enjoyed it more than hand building. But there are three things that I didn't really like about wheel throwing. First, I hated wedging and recycling clay. So, wedging basically is you're supposed to be preparing your clay to work with it on the wheel, and wedging the clay removes air pockets and it ensures a uniform consistency in the clay. But I suck at it. So every time I wedged my clay, I made more air pockets, and that would mess me up when I was throwing on the wheel. So that was really frustrating. And then another thing I don't like or didn't like about wheel throwing when I first started was that my pieces would collapse on me. So I would be working on them, and all of a sudden they would just like flop down. So that was pretty annoying. And also I hated that sometimes my pieces would come out of the kiln and they were broken. So here's an example. This was a platter I made, and it went in perfectly fine. Um, and this is what came out. And it was pretty frustrating. But I continued to work with clay because I really liked working with the medium. I ended up taking all the wheel throwing classes I could possibly take here at Cal State Long Beach, and I gave hand building another chance. So I no longer hate it. I still prefer wheel throwing though. So here's a picture of something I threw and attached during my intermediate class, and they're just like small vases for small plants. I added some like small cactus on them when it came out. And then this one, the next picture, these are some plates that I did during my advanced wheel throwing class, and I had like a lot of fun making these, and I enjoyed it. And the last class, the last wheel throwing class I took at least, was an independent studies class, and this was one of my final projects. You can't really see the detail on it, but here's, I think I have a close-up of it. Yeah, so here's a close-up, and I basically sketched it on the clay and carved it out. So these projects that I took pictures of were the ones I was most proud of, but I do have other pictures, but those didn't come out as nice as these. And my journey will continue in the clay world. I could say that for sure. There is still so much to do and learn from this medium, and I will continue exploring and experimenting with it. I plan to own a ceramic studio in a near future, and I would also like to teach ceramics and share my passion with my students. And I hope you guys enjoyed my video, and thanks for watching. And so far, that's where my story is at now. Thank you.